Welcome back, friends. We are here for another episode of Sit Crooked, Talk Straight. I am Katie Myers.
And I am Leanne Jameson.
And we are, I think I say the same thing every single intro.
Two gal pals.
We are beyond grateful for the opportunity to sit with you. We are just two gal pals shooting the shit, just doing our thing. And today's no different. And I'm excited because we're going to talk a little bit about a project that I'm working on. But beyond that, that's kind of the umbrella. Beyond that is, ladies, I'm going to talk to you, even though I know, gentlemen, you're listening. I know, I see you. I know you're out there.
I see the two of you.
No, I know there's more than that. But women, ladies, we often have something to say. We got something to say. We got words and we got things to say. And some of us,
so many things.
Some of us talk a lot but don't say anything. Others of us have a fuck ton to say but stay quiet. I'm talking to you, Cassie. So, Cassie, you need to hear me say this.
Yes, I agree.
Hear me say this. It is time to get your words on paper and out to the masses.
Yes.
If you're listening to this and you're kind of like, what? Write a book? What? Like, I have something to say? What?
You know you have something to say, Cassie. We all know you have something to say, and it's so important for you to say it because this book has been living within you, just like many of us, for a decade or more.
Oh, shit. The call out on this episode is years.
Well, and I think we're talking to all Cassies, truly, right? And we're talking to ourselves, too, because we've both been working on books. Yes.
We're both authors working on books. We're both inspired by different moments of our lives and experiences and historical content and like just all these different things that have shaped us and molded us into who we are today, which I don't mean to sound arrogant when I say this, but I think is pretty fucking awesome. Like what has shaped us, and not because of any grand thing that we've necessarily done or haven't done, although I do believe that we have shown up, especially recently in our lives, to co-create these amazing lives that we live. However, I believe that every single person out there has a story to tell and has something to say. And so many people will be like, oh, and I've heard it ad nauseum from so many women. Oh my gosh, I thought about writing this book, but then like, who knows? I'm gonna read my book. Like, I don't have anything to say.
Right.
I'm just like, fucking cut that shit out, right? Like, stop playing like that martyr, like, woe is me. Nobody wants to read what I have to write. Whoa, 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 whoa. Cut that shit out. You have something to say.
Right. Well, and yes, it is. And whether it's words or art, right? Like a painting or a drawing or a letter to the Senate, or like there is so much, or a letter to your CEO, whatever it is, your boss. Like there's so much that we are meant to say. And I think that I just thought of a different title too, of just like, can we just name it like Cassie? I got something to say. Or to like all the Cassies out there, And Cassie, we love you so, so much. And this is why,
girl, you have no idea how much love right now is coming at you.
Love you. And again, when we say to all the Cassies, we are speaking to ourselves, because how long have you been working on your book, Katie? How long have I been working on my book? Right. And like how many times we've heard people say, oh, I'm writing, I think I'm going to start writing this book, or I think, and then it just goes and goes and goes and goes. I am guilty of it as well. And I have called myself out with you, where I'm just like, I have fucking procrastinated and I have put this on the back burner, and I know that I'm terrified of it.
So we're calling out all of us. And we're going to share. So Leanne and I have very different approaches to how we're writing our books. and getting our books to the masses, which I think is so beautiful, because I don't believe in there being a right or a wrong way. I think there is a way, there is a way for
Yes.
everyone to get their written, spoken, artistic, whatever it is that you have to share. There's a way to get it out there.
Yeah.
um you just have to get out of your fucking way, right? Like you just have to
Exactly.
stop, like you said, the procrastination. I mean, I started writing this book, like there are excerpts in this book that I reference. um Actually, at the time of the writing, Sloan was 2, and so that was 8 years ago. But I'll be
Mm,
honest with you, I started writing this book before he was born,
yes. Oh,
right? And so like a decade in the making. And we're going to go through kind of like our process, and then of course like
yeah.
the high level call out, which is like if you've got something percolating somewhere, bubbling up inside of you, it's time to take some action, and there are multiple ways to do it.
Absolutely. And we will talk about those different ways that we're going through it. And we're still in process, y'all. Like, so just recognizing that as well. I follow other people that are doing things. I have authors as friends who, so many different ways of doing this. But what is coming up for me is, I know that I quote her so much, Elizabeth Gilbert. Most people know her for Eat, Pray, Love. I
Yep.
know her for Big Magic. That's my favorite. And what she says in there is just, and she references herself, this one book that she had in her mind over and over and over, and she kept on just like pushing it aside and pushing it aside. And she's big on saying, like, if you have, same thing what you were just saying, is just like, if you have this bubbling up in your soul, if you have this laid on your soul, it is meant for you. It is meant for you to express it in whatever way you are meant to. It's meant for you to follow. She talks about so many different things of like just following your soul, your inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because she also says, now I don't know how long she was holding on to this book. And it's so funny because when she was talking about it, I have to go back and see which one it is, because I read the book that she was referencing from a different author, and it was a fucking awesome book. And she ran into this author, and they were chatting, and this author was like, yeah, I just published this book and it's about X, Y, and Z. And Elizabeth was like, holy shit, that was my book. That was my book. So her message is also, if you stop listening, if you just keep on pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off, it's going to go somewhere else so that it could be created. Even though it's
Yeah.
meant for you and it chose you and it wants to be birthed by you, it, it
Mm-hmm.
it still needs to be out in the world. So somebody else is going to pick it up, or it's going to go somewhere else, right?
It's going to
So
come to life,
yes,
whether you do it or not, is what I'm hearing,
yes,
right? Like, and I think
yes.
that's so like so beautiful, because it's not a race of like, oh, I have to hurry up and then like get done before somebody else does it.
Right. And that's not, yeah. So I was like, I don't want
Mhm.
people to hear that, but it's
It's not
like,
a race.
it's meant to come to life. It is meant for you. But how long will you stick around if somebody was like, nope, sorry, nope, sorry, nope, sorry, nope, sorry? You would fucking give up.
Yes, no, right? Like that's, I mean, gosh, that's on so many levels, things to think about. But the book writing, right? Like anybody today, thank God, like the times are different. Like anybody today can be an author. I,
Yes.
I, I absolutely love that,
Yep.
because people who, I mean, so this is a sidebar, but you know, kind of like the writing proposals and getting an agent and
Yep.
getting it chosen and like, right, like
That's what I do.
that's so
That's
that's
what
on
I,
Leanne's
that's
process.
my path.
That is not for the faint of heart. And I can remember wanting to start out in that process. But I remember reading, for those of you who are Schitt's Creek fans, um, who like it fucking won like all these different awards. Did you know that the two creators took that script, like that idea, to like three different people, three different production places that
Right.
all denied it. And like I just think of like the rejection factor of like how many like amazing things are out there that get rejected. But like it's not about that, right? Like we have to just push through. We have to push through. I mean, I think like Disneyland Disney World, Walt
Yeah.
Disney, um, gave his idea to like so many people, and they're like, it'll never work, that'll never work, that'll never work. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Right,
show you.
right. Like, and so we have to have kind of that like thick skin and like tough exterior when there are people who may not believe in or ascribe to or see the value,
Yeah.
that there's so much beauty and amazingness that even if, Leanne, you write your proposals and your
My query letters and like they all get rejected. I always think I'm like every no is gets me closer and closer to a yes.
damn
Every
straight,
single one.
damn
Right.
straight. And so we have to like have that, I think, especially when we think about having our voices heard, having our message be birthed, come to light, all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to remember that the message isn't for everybody. The message isn't for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody has a message,
Oh, yeah.
right? And that reminder of kind of like your tribe, like the people who don't get you aren't your people.
Right.
The people who don't need your book don't need your book.
Right.
But there's a fuck ton of people out there who need your book.
There are 8 billion people in this world. There is somebody who needs your goddamn book or your painting or, like I said, like there's so many different ways to be creative and to get our story out. But
Absolutely.
we are going to be talking just about books because that's how
That's
we
what we're doing.
express ourselves. Yeah.
Well, in this episode, I don't know exactly because I don't have it pulled up. I don't know when this will air, but sometime in February, I'm guessing. I'm hopeful that my book will be published by the time this
Mm-hmm.
airs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in the process. I was just sharing with Leanne. I have a cover illustrator, and I'm working with an editor, and I'm going a different route.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wrote my entire book. Well, that's not true. I wrote three-fourths of it, um, and then hired an editor. And she, Magic, I mean, her name's not Magic, but she is Magic. Joyce, Joyce Beverly, shout out to my editor. Um, she's incredible, but she has walked through this editing process almost for the last 2 years. That's
Mm-hmm.
not, I don't know what common is. That's not, we took breaks. We took big
Yeah.
breaks. I had, I had a breakdown. We had to take, we had to take a break a couple different times. But what was so beautiful was that she helped me formulate what I had already written and helped me write the ending of it. And it's my memoir, right? Like it's my story. But I'm going the self-publishing route.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think there are 100 ways. Sorry for all you cat lovers, but there's 100 ways to skin a cat. You can do this. Um, but what I had to remind myself of on the daily at times, because there would be times where like she would set appointments up and I would be like, oh, I can't make it. Right. Because I was afraid. Like my
Yes.
conditioned self was, and my fear-based self was driving the bus and being like, you're getting closer, you're getting closer, you're getting closer. Pump the brakes, pump the brakes. And the book is being birthed. And I am
Yeah.
so grateful that I didn't pump the brakes too hard, too frequently to pause the project. But
What
yeah.
comes up? So what comes up? So I want to go back for a second and
Mhm.
guys, we will get to like some of the ins and outs. Like I said, we're both definitely in process. Katie is much closer than I am as far as like publishing book, and I mean I am just finding like writing my query letter to my agents and finding agents to write it to. But like in the process, like we both had these books on, like you said, even before, like over a decade ago, right? Because Sloan's 10.
Mhm.
So, with that, like what created that stop for you? Like what excuses? Because I can identify my excuses too, but like what are the excuses that we can create that
Yeah.
puts everything on pause?
Mhm.
What are legit? Like maybe this isn't meant to be birthed yet.
Right.
Because because I'm still in process. And like what made you hire your agent as well? So anyways, I know a lot of questions, or not agent, editor.
Yeah. So the pauses and like the pumping of the brakes came with fear and doubt. And I didn't know it at the time. This is all hindsight, right? Like in the moment, I called it a creativity block. In the moment, I called it, I'm just too busy with other things. Like this just isn't a priority. In the moment, it was masquerading as all different kinds of things underneath it. And because I have a therapist and you, and I've done a lot of work, and I now know that like imposter syndrome was a
Yeah.
big part of it, like especially because I'm going the self-publishing route. There was a part of me that attempted to go the route of theories, agents, getting chosen, somebody to pay me to write. And and when I decided to shift away from that, I was like, I was harsh with myself. I was like you're cheating the system. Like and like I said before, what I see now is like an absolute pro, an absolute asset. My brain was telling me it was a liability and was telling me it was a shortcut, and I was cheating the system. Anybody can become an author. Oh, you're an author.
Mm.
Anybody can self-publish. Anybody can post their stuff on Amazon. Anybody can blah 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 blah. And so I had these narratives going on in my head about you're not doing it the right way, and just not nice things that I would say, and then all the way down to no one gives a shit about your story, right? Like
Yeah.
so what? Like you had a shit period of time or a string of shitty things happen to you. Like who fucking cares? Um, everybody has this stuff go, and then that's what flipped the script for me was I can't remember if it was in therapy or in a group with you and the girls, or there was something that it was like, that's right, everybody does have a story, everybody does, everybody will relate on some level, or not everybody, but like there will be so much relatability because everybody does have pain in their story, everybody does connect with those emotional reactions to life. And so that was kind of the a little bit of the catalyst that was like, you got to keep going, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
And my work with my clients, because there are so many brave souls who show up to do really hard work that um, think they're alone. They think that
Mm.
they're fighting the fight all by themselves, or they're struggling in in isolation because shame tells us to stay quiet.
Right.
That was the other piece. Some of my story, shame crept in and was kind of like, you're not going to put that out into the universe. Like, you're not putting that out for the whole world to know. Are you fucking kidding? And then I was like, are you? Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I have lived the majority of my life with my heart on my sleeve. People know things about
A
me
whole
that others
lot.
are like, right? Like, I wouldn't share that. That's private. I wouldn't share that. Well, I'm different.
Yeah.
I don't believe in hiding behind the shame of my story. Like I believe in sharing it because when we share our story, we give other people permission to do the same.
Right.
Marianne Williamson's quotes: "When we shine brightly, we remind others that they have a light inside of them, and if I can make it through some of this bullshit that I went through in life, so can you." Uh,
Right. The
so,
hope and inspiration.
oh yeah, experience strength and hope, and
Hmm.
the reminder that you're not alone. So if
Right.
you were ever, a 13-year-old girl, um, counting calories and wishing that you could just disappear and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, gosh, people don't really talk about that very much. So I thought I was
Mm.
the only one. Guess what? You are not alone, sister. You are not
Right.
alone.
Right.
So yeah, and I've just appreciated other people's vulnerability along the way. And so that has helped me um, shine light on different things that maybe I would want to keep quote unquote secret, or behind closed doors, or more private. But yeah, and that was also I think part of my like the editing process and working with Joyce. There were parts where we were like, are we leaving that in there? I was like, yep, we're leaving that in there. And that was more like me asking, right? Like the
Yeah.
editing, like, am I really gonna like leave that in there? Yep. Why we
Yep,
should.
sure am.
Very young. So yeah, so my process, like I said, will be hopefully published by my 41st birthday, which is in January. So
Yes.
this episode will air hopefully in February.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll begin to share a little bit more and promote and market the book a little bit more. But we're still very much in the stages of like picking the cover art, like the illustration of the cover design,
Yeah.
and just like the final, like the finishing touches, which is hard to do. Um, I don't have anything to compare it to, but it's hard to do when there are so many decisions that need to be made. And I now have a team. I now have like today I'm meeting with like 4 different people at the same time this
Yeah.
afternoon. And it's like bringing all these really creative minds together. And then, but like I'm the final decision maker. And then I get that imposter syndrome again, where I'm just kind of like, want to like be the deciding factor. Like I don't want to like can somebody else do that for me? Because like
Right.
I don't know that I'm the right one to decide the cover of my book.
Uh-huh.
No, Katie. As a matter of fact, you fucking are the right person to pick the cover of your book. Um, so there's just so many things that swirl around that. Yeah, I'm really proud of myself, and I'm proud of like my story, and it will reach readers faster than going the other route. But I
Mm-hmm.
think there's so much beauty in whatever route you take
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
your voice out there. Because we got
Yeah.
something to say, bitches. We got
We
something to say.
do. We have so much to say, and again, it's meant to be out there. Um, it's needed. Your voice is needed. Your story is needed. Your experience is needed. Your hope is needed. More than ever, I think. Truly. I mean, there's so much shit happening in the world that we really need the hope and inspiration and guidance and mentorship from each other. As
Um,
women. So, what was the like deciding factor that you're like, you know what, I need to hire an editor? And how did you find her?
So, fate would have it that I worked with an incredible coach. This is like a shout out episode. Shout out to Connie Jones.
Mhm.
Connie and I worked together for about a year. She wrote a book, and it's a beautiful book. Very similar, her story, but also self help.
Mhm.
And she just has this authenticity, and she worked with a woman named Joyce. And I remember asking Connie, I love your book. I love like what you did. Like, how did you do it?
Yeah.
And can you connect me with the people who helped make it become a reality? And so she connected me with Joyce. And
Beautiful.
yeah, so that kind of happened very organically.
Mm.
Because I mean, I wouldn't have known where to start. I mean, I guess I could have Googled random editors, but I do believe that everything happens in the right time, in the right place, in the right season, in the right reason, in the right time. Right, all of it is meant to be,
Yep.
and so I just really trusted that timing. And so, right, like thank God Connie wrote her book so that I could then, right, and so you just have no
Yes.
idea what you're going to inspire and what you're going to create, and what you're going to help birth
Right.
by following your truth and living, in your most authentic light, letting it
Yeah.
shine so brightly. So yeah, that
Mm.
was finding my editor was um, through friends and divine timing.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Ugh.
How are you? What is your like?
Mine's very different. Like I said, I'm in a different process than you. So, I mean, I had this idea years ago. It's been right. It was when it was probably 5 years ago, honestly. And started writing little bits and pieces here and there. And there was all the imposter syndrome, and still is, right, that pops up of like, you're not a writer, you suck at writing, you're not an author, like you're not, right, like what do you think you're doing? And then I had to remind myself, like I used to write all the time. Like I would write poetry, I would write songs, I would write, I used to draw, I used to paint, like all of these things. I am a creative, and reminding myself of that, of just like, you're not a phony, like this is your inspiration, like you just lost sight of it. um So yeah, so I started on that process, and I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I think that you had mentioned Jensen Chero having, it's this, like, I don't even want to call it a master class. Now it's just like a DIY course on just like how to get your book published, and in the way that I'm doing it as far as like agents and publishers and things like that. And I have gone back and forth about just like, because I have so many peers who are self-publishing, and they give me resources that I'm like, what's the resource? And she gave me the resource, and I'm like, oh, well, this is why I haven't published my book yet. Like, this is why I haven't gone through with the process yet. I'm supposed to self-publish. And then I've always had it, and it's not a condition thing. It's just been, this is the path that you're supposed to take, is
Mhm.
on the route of agents and publishers. And then of course confirmed, I would go to all these like free classes of like, how do you write a book about this, about authorship, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the last one that I wrote that got me kicked back up into this was Rachel Rogers. She had a master class that I signed up for. Love, love, love her. She is actually on the brink of, I think, we all know her, at least Katie and I know her from We Should All Be Millionaires, her book. And she, during this masterclass, she has 7 more books coming out. So she was hired for 7 books. She's like, and they're all, I mean, over, like, I think her 7 books equals, she got paid like over $1 million to create, right? So I was like,
Well,
that's really cool. Yeah. I was just like, that's cool.
mhm.
No, I'm not expecting to make that. And who knows, right?
Why not? Why not? We can't
It's
imagine.
just like Charity has a book. So, anyways, it doesn't matter. But that's what really kickstarted me back to like, Leanne, this is your process. This is the way that you're supposed to go. And it's so funny because like, so now I took Jensen Chero's like DIY publish your book class, have had that for years, stopped
Right.
it, redid it, and now have gotten further than I've ever gotten, to where I have my sample chapters, I have my outline, I have all of this. But it's so funny because I wouldn't listen to, because she has recordings. I would listen to some of them, but then I would like just have to like, well, what do I have to do? And like I would look at her examples and all of this stuff. So I totally missed to the point where I was like, oh, I'm supposed to have a query letter.
That's so you, right? Like that's so like your energy, which is like, all right, I got something to do. Let's get this shit done. I don't have time to listen
I
to
ain't got time to listen to this stuff.
all these words. I don't have time to listen to all these words. I got shit to do. Let's just get to it.
Yeah, but then that
That's
always
funny.
like, holds me back a little bit, where I'm just like, oh, I missed a step. Big step. And you know what? I'm not even gonna chalk it up. Like, it happened in the way that it needed to,
Mhm.
because even now my book has like shifted and changed as far as
Mm.
just like the focus that I want and like how I want. And the more I read and continue to go back into all of it, it's really cool. It's really cool. And I'm still like in process. And what's beautiful about the way that I'm going is that it doesn't have to be done. I have to have an idea, and then I get the opportunity to fill it in as I'm growing and expanding. So the way that I'm doing it is, like I said, it's like I have this idea, I have all the chapters listed, I have like the general idea of each chapter, right? And I have these like sample chapters written out. And I will tell you, like, so there is research that you have to do comparing your books to what is already out.
Mhm.
And talk about imposter syndrome, talk about like, who the fuck is going to buy my book when all of these other very well-known authors are out there? What is, and they're asking you, what is going to set your book aside? Why are people going to buy this? So the research is great, and being able to say people are buying these, like people want more of these.
people
And
consume this material, right?
exactly. And this is how I'm set apart. But then, I mean, like, even in, you have to write up a marketing plan and who you're
Mhm.
connected with and who, you're going to get to promote you and how you're going to fundraise and how you're going to do all these things, where again, every step of the way, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know these people. People know like Oprah and shit, and they have them writing their forewords, and like Wayne Dyer and like all these things, right? Where it's just
Right.
like, okay, let me start getting creative here. I know that I'm creative. I can do this. But like every step of the way, there's been like a pause or a stop or like, holy shit. And it's so
Mhm.
funny because my husband knows that this has been on my heart and like my radar for a while. And
Mhm.
I remember him asking, it was like a couple months ago, he's like, so what's going on with your book? Like, what's happening there? And I was just like, I don't know, like I haven't made time for it. I haven't done this. And then he goes, sweet man, goes into problem solving into all the different ways that I could make time for it. And I just looked at him. I'm like, I've done it. It's on my calendar. Well, why don't you just do it? I'm like, because I know that I'm scared and like, just stop, leave me alone. I don't need you to fix anything. I've tried it all. I know that there's a block. I know that I'm scared shitless.
Mhm.
So, it's definitely interesting to go through all of these different aspects. But and then even like when I'm listening, so I started listening to the recordings, right? I'm listening to all of these people talking about like, well, this is where I was published, and this is where I was published, and I wrote for this and I wrote for that. And I'm just like, I've written blogs. Right. And
You've written a lot of material. There's a ton of content that you should be very, I know you are, but very proud of, right? Like
right.
you have something to say.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But it's like, well, how am I going to stand out when all these people have these prizes or this prize, or they're published here and they're published there? And then I'm like, and then I can easily, and I'm speaking to all the people that are going through this, or, have thought about going this route, where, you know, I'm like, should I start with magazines? Should I just start publishing with magazines first? Should I ask
Mm.
this and that and everything? And I'm like, I think that's going to be like, no, not right now. I don't think
Mhm.
that's the right space, because I feel like it's just going to detract me again.
Mhm.
Because I'm scared, because, well, I got to start this way and I got to do this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, fuck. When have I ever started small? Like,
Never. The answer to that is never. Never. Mm-mm.
yeah. So that is my process. Yeah. So for those of you who are like, what the hell is a query letter? A query letter is telling agents. So so I'm on the search for agents, of like, who can I send my query letter to, saying, this is what I want to write about, and this is why you should, take me on. And then the agents actually get you out to the publishers, to the publishing companies. So that's where I'm at my process. And it's so funny because I have, other friends who have authored books, published books and everything. And she always says this too. So, um, Jennifer Ford Berry, who we've had on our podcast,
Mhm.
she's like, shit. She's like, all I did, she's like, I had papers and I just went up to this agent and like this publishing company and said, you need to publish this. I have some good stuff. I love her. She's like, I have some good stuff to write. And she's like, now, granted, my first book was probably 20 years ago. She's like, I think things have changed.
A
It's
little
like,
bit, the process is a little bit different. Yeah. I love those stories too, though, because I'm just like,
yeah,
so ballsy and so like, right, like,
beautiful,
right,
right?
I love
Like,
it, the
I do have
tenacity,
something to say, and people need to read this, and you need to be the one to publish it.
right? And if you don't, someone else will. So strike while the
Yeah,
iron's hot. It's good.
yeah,
Here's the good time.
exactly,
And
exactly.
and maybe we all have that energy, right?
Yes.
Like maybe we all channel that energy of
Hmm.
not just I've got something to say, but I've got something to say, and people need to hear it. People want to hear
Yes.
it.
Yes.
I mean, I actually listened to him, I think her most recent book on Audible, and she's a phenomenal author. And just her content, right? Like
Oh,
it's just
Jennifer.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so apropos in my life and just right like decluttering and this really is the shout out episode. We're
It
shouting
really is.
all
You're
out
shutting out
all of the
everybody.
things. But like that energy of fuck yeah, right? Like if when somebody asked the question like, well, why me? Why would I like? Why would? And the response to that is, why not you? Right? Like, why not?
Exactly.
Go for
Exactly.
it. Go for
Yep.
it. You know, I like to say vag up instead of like, you know,
Sack up.
stack up. Because vaginas, y'all, I don't know if you guys know this, sidebar, vaginas are way tougher than testicles.
Way
Um,
tougher.
way tougher. So vag up, and get something on paper so that you
Yeah.
can fucking decide whether or not you want to go the self-publishing route or you want to go the agent route, or if you want to go, maybe there's even a different route that I don't even know about.
Right.
Um, but
Probably.
like, but like, come on now. The time is now. If you are wondering, gosh, should I write that book? Like, this is your sign. There is no signing your
It's just
sign.
like, just like,
There's no signing your sign in the sign that's given to you right now in this moment. Yes,
yeah.
write your book. Tell
Yes.
your story. Author your creativity.
Say the thing.
Say that thing. Put it on paper. Um, and if not now, when? And there's never going
Yes.
to be, right? Like people are always like, oh, now's not the right time, or now's not. And I do believe in divine timing. I do believe in divine timing. Sometimes it is the right time, sometimes it's not the right time. And I also believe that that is a fucking bullshit excuse of just like, I'm too busy right now. Well, all right, you're going to be busy until the day you die. So,
Right. Right. You're going to make sure that you're busy, first of
right, your
all.
conditioned
Yeah.
self is going to be like, oh, we're always too busy.
Eh,
I got a scarf to knit. I can't write a book. I have to wash
right.
my hair. I have to, right, like I got other, nope, nope.
Yep. Yep.
I call
Now's
bullshit.
the time. I call
Now's
bullshit
the
too. So write it, write it, write it, write it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so many amazing authors, so many amazing resources out there now. So if you guys would like, actually, we can probably put some references, right?
yep.
Like in the comments or in
So
the
no,
show notes. Yeah, in the show notes. So we'll do that, and just in case, and of course, reach out to either one of us just to know. Like we can put Jensen Charo's her course. Again, it's so fucking cheap. It's
I know,
ridiculous. Oh
I
my
know. There's
gosh.
really no
And
excuse.
right, there really, really isn't. So, and again, it's just like starting point. It gives you so many great guidelines that you are going to need in order to publish through agents and publishers. So, and I know some resources from a lot of my friends who are self-published, and Katie, you can put yours in there too. So we'll be sure to give you all the resources, and please reach out to us. Let us know, any kind of questions that you have, or any tips or anything that you might need from either one of us, of just like sitting down and actually writing the thing and not waiting for that right time to write, or oh, I have writer's block, or I have to have like the specific way that, the sun is facing and through shining through my window. You know what I mean? We can come up with all sorts of stuff.
The earth needs to be at a certain axis. And everything needs to be able to write appropriately. I think maybe Jen said this or somebody said this, something I read about encouraging authors is like the best time to write, or like the best way to like to get paper, like word on paper, is to sit your fucking ass down and write. Like
Exactly.
put your butt in this chair and write. Like that's how you
Right.
do it.
That's the intention.
How do you write a book?
Exactly.
Sit your ass down.
I love it. So, yes, if you need any support, we are here for you. Please, please, please reach out, and we love to hear your stories. If you have any resources that we haven't listed, please let us know so that we can get it out to other people. So yeah, and if you have any stories of like when you were authoring your book, please like reach out to us. We'd love to have you on the show. So
We can't wait to read your books.
yes, Cassie, can't wait. Can't wait to read them. Can't wait to buy them. Can't wait to gift them, all the things. So, for all of you ladies out there, we all have something to say. Get it, just allow yourself to accept that, embrace it, and know that what you have to say is so important and so needed in this world. So, yes, as usual, sending so much love and light. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and let your legacy shine. Mwah.
Mwah.